All right, let's move on now to some X factors. This is going to be a fun conversation. Can't wait to see who you guys pick. I'm going to start us off with, of course, Kenneth Murray. I think Kenneth Murray
Mhm.
is in for a big season, right? Like we've seen a little bit here and there in the preseason and training camp. Of course, he had the shoulder injury in OTAs, but he seems like he's finally healthy. And we all talked about it last year. Like, we need to see Kenneth Murray blitz. Like, we need to see Kenneth Murray blitz. We haven't seen it yet, but we've seen Drew Tranquil blitz. We've seen Kaiser White blitz. And I am ready, man. I'm ready to see the Kenneth Murray coming out party for this season. I think he's going to have a huge season, like I said. And this is a huge game for him, too, because, like I said, the interior offensive line of the Washington football team is okay. They're not great. And then you've got to deal with Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic, both backs who are very adept at catching the football. Both backs who are kind of more of your elusive kind of backs. So this is a game for the linebackers, but specifically Kenneth Murray. I think we see him cause a fumble. I think we see him get some pressures, and I'm really expecting a big game from Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect a big game from Kenneth Murray. I think he'll have to be sort of an X factor. My X factor is going to be an obvious one, but I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. So that might be an obvious one, but I actually saw this from Benjamin Solak. If you actually look at Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen's last 6 or so games prior to Keenan Allen getting hurt, there were about 5 games in there where he had over 10 receptions and 1 where he had 7. So like he really started to kind of find his groove prior to the Oakland, hamstring situation that caused him to miss those last 3 games. So, and there's nobody on Washington from a secondary standpoint that really scares you. Like you have Kendall Fuller, who I think can cause him some problems. You have William Jackson, who I think will be important in this game, but there's no one that really scares you to the prospect of Keenan Allen shutting down. So I think this is one of those games where you can look at Keenan Allen's stat line at the end, and if he has like 60 yards, it probably was a loss. And if he has probably over 100, over 10 receptions, that kind of game, then I think it probably was a win.
All right, so I'm going to go from your pick of the most productive receiver in camp to someone who was very unproductive as a receiver in camp. My X factor is Trey McCoy, because McCoy will be a big part of that blocking unit up front. Now, could they not use him a whole lot, maybe go with more Donald Parham? I suppose. But I'm going to go with McCoy because that's a little more X factor. And he's not expected to play a ton, but I do think he's important because the tight end is a really huge part of that outside zone, that strong rushing attack, because the running back literally runs towards where the tight end was and then has to make a decision largely based on how that tight end handles his responsibilities. A couple of times I saw McKinney make some really good blocks in the training camp and at the scrimmage. A couple of times I've seen him whiff. So can he be consistent there? Then as a receiver, I swear I'm going to be right about this one day, even though it's just a gut feeling. He's super athletic, and I saw them try to dial up deep shots for him at the scrimmage. So are they going to try and get him involved? So I'm really interested to see how he holds up as a blocker, because it's been maybe 60% good, 40% eh. And then, of course, can he be anything more as a receiver? Because I think the athleticism is there. It might take him longer to develop, and that's fine. But I think if you're trying to exploit this defense, perhaps try to surprise them with someone like Trey McCoy. Because if I'm not mistaken, Gerald Everett for the Rams led the team in receptions or in receiving yards against the Washington football team last year. So using the tight ends, exploiting the tight ends, I think is a really good idea. How involved will he be? I don't know, but that's why he is the X factor, not my key matchup.
There we go. I think that's a spot on call, because I really think the tight ends are kind of the key to this game offensively, whether it be blocking, whether it be beating the Washington defense at the seam. And also we've seen the tight ends be involved in those mesh concepts, as well as those bootleg concepts, like where Justin Herbert rolls out to the right and you have Steven Anderson leak out, you have Donald Parham leak out, Trey McCoy. They all got action in those kind of plays. So they'll all have opportunities to make some plays in